My name's Richie Turner. I was born in Newcastle upon Tyne. I've been in Cardiff since 1982, and I am 56 years old. I'm an arts and innovation business consultant, and I work all over the UK with different arts organisations and public sector organisations. But my day job is working for the University of South Wales as their incubation manager. I run an incubator called Stwdio, which supports start-up companies and freelance entrepreneurs. I became an entrepreneur about a month after graduating with my first degree in Cardiff in 1986. I set my first company up with 4 friends. We founded a circus company that's still going now in Cardiff called No Fit State Circus, which is now the biggest non-animal circus in Europe as far as I'm aware, and it's still going in Cardiff now. When I graduated then, working for yourself was quite unusual. We were certainly my parents, there's 5 of us who set the company up. None of our parents were pleased that we'd used our degrees to set a circus company up. They thought that was not, I suppose, doing something proper in employment. Obviously now they're all very proud of the achievements. The company's been going over 30 years, has employed hundreds of people. People come from all over the world now to work with that company. But I've worked with other companies. I worked with friends in the late 80s who opened the very first vegetarian vegan restaurant in Cardiff, and I was a chef there as well. I founded and worked on a creative entrepreneurship company called Creative Enterprise. I've worked in a number of different guises. I've also worked in a number of organisations that to develop new initiatives. So one of the things which I suppose I pride myself most upon is the fact that I've never done a job that anyone's ever done before. So I went to the Arts Council in 1997 and became the head of the Revenue Lottery programmes when they first started. I was the first director for Nesta, the Innovation Foundation for Wales. So each of those times I suppose I've created an opportunity, an initiative, a programme, a company, a mechanism in order to fill a gap in provision. So we've spotted either a weakness in a provision of services or support, or a gap in the market, and I've identified that and always undertaken that work. So in terms of, I suppose, self-employment and freelancers now, I would say it's probably much easier to get work because people are more used to recruiting people who are freelancers rather than working through maybe bigger and more trusted brands. I would say that the world of freelancing as well, starting a startup company is very different now. Obviously these days there is a huge range of business support that's available. You can get business support obviously from Welsh Government directly, from local authorities, obviously universities like University of South Wales provide business support through Student Enterprise and now the Startup Stwdio. So I think things are very different now. There is a huge range of business support that you can do. Then you are pretty much left to your own devices. You succeeded or you failed based on your own initiative, whether you could find work, whether you could get enough customers, and I suppose you learn by your mistakes. Whereas now, obviously, you can practice, you can be taught how to develop a cash flow and a business plan and a marketing strategy and a social media plan, and I would say it's a lot easier now to be able to gain the support. In the end, though, the basic principle about business applies to everybody, which is you need a really good business idea, you need a niche or a gap in the market or something which is going to differentiate you from everybody else. within whatever industry or sector you're in. And you need significant drive and commitment. So you have to work long hours and work very hard.
Oh my Oh my
Or a videographer or a dancer or a gamer or an animator. You've got to have a very clear niche about what you're trying to do. You think very hard as to whether you want to work for yourself. Working for yourself has loads of advantages. You don't have to be told what to do by a boss. You can choose when you want to work. All those sort of benefits. Having said that, you will end up working twice as hard as somebody who works in a business or in another organisation. You'll end up working twice as many hours. And if basically you're looking for a life-work balance, that will come, but it won't come for the first 5 years. So don't expect to be able to be taking lots of holidays and long weekends initially. Initially it's all about hard work, hard graft, and probably looking over your shoulder at all your friends who go to the pub in the evening, whereas you've got to sit there and follow up on work emails, send some more invoices out and do things like that. So it's not for the faint-hearted. You have to be really committed. But if you believe in yourself and you believe in the idea, your business idea, then I would say go for it. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. There used to be a belief that entrepreneurs were born, not created. I don't believe that's true. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. I don't think anyone's born an entrepreneur. Obviously, if you are brought up in a family where there is a business or a number of businesses going on, you probably, as a child and a young person, you get to develop those skills and the knowledge and understanding of a business earlier. But anyone could be an entrepreneur. I think it's about personal commitment and drive, and then you can learn the skills of marketing, business strategy, finance, customers, targeting, market research. All of those things are skills that you can learn. There's no secret to them. They're just you just have to apply yourself to learning how to do it. Try it, probably fail. Try it, fail again. Try it one more time. Hopefully you'll succeed. I mean, ultimately, you can have the best business idea, the best product or service. You can have a great brand. You can have the correct pricing strategy. You could even have a really good marketing strategy. If you can't sell your product or your service to somebody, you will fail. So there's a difference between marketing, which is putting your brand out there for people to know who you are and what you offer, what product or service you're offering, and the difference between sales. Sales is convincing somebody to part with their hard-earned cash for that particular item or that particular service. So networking is the way in which you basically start to build your customer relationships. The ability to listen is crucial if you want to run a business. One of the key attributes that we teach here and other people teach about a business is you are solving people's problems. That's what a business is there to do. The principle of networking is about listening to those people, about listening to what they're doing, particularly somebody from a large organisation or a big company. What I always say is don't talk about yourself all the time. If you're in front of a CEO or of a big company, ask them, what are they doing at the moment? What are they planning to do in the future, in the next year? What's their biggest problem they're facing? Listen to them, and if you can, change your company's product or service to solve their problems, rather than, this is what I do, this is what I sell, do you want to buy it? Because the chances are that doesn't fit. So networking is the way in which basically you begin to learn how to convince somebody to buy your product or your service. I couldn't see any reason why somebody would not want to do some freelancing. Obviously it depends on the course that you're doing and the skills that you've got, but particularly all of the people who are studying here in the campus in Cardiff have got obviously creative skills. So from journalism, every company, every business needs to tell a story. That's crucial. Whether it's developing a brand, taking photographs, producing videos, enabling what they do, so sorting out their design, their interior, creating a little animated GIF which you can go into social media. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities. All the other courses, if you're in the business school, there's loads of things you could do in terms of supporting a company. There's always something else that company needs someone to do for them. If you're in the School of Engineering and Computer Software, who does not need somebody to build either an app or a website or an application or adapt your customer relationship database with an API that builds data from there? So yeah, look for opportunities all the time. Even if it's a case of just being paid expenses, it basically builds up your ability to communicate and understand how businesses work. People, in a business environment, people expect things to be done on time all the time, and there's no excuses. So I think it's a really good environment to just add that to the portfolio while you're working. It also gives you an opportunity when you're given potentially an assignment to pick a topic that's related to where you're doing some freelance work, and then it's a real life topic rather than just theoretical. If you work part-time, I suppose there are some advantages to working part-time. If you work part-time in a restaurant or a bar, I suppose, or a cafe or somewhere like that, it's the obvious place that somebody might go. It's easy, it's regular, it's shift. You know when you're next on. You get sent your shift, you go there and you do it. Well, that's fair enough, okay. But you're not pushing your brain particularly in doing that, I doubt. You're not generally using the skills that you're learning while at university to be able to do that. Whereas if you did freelancing, you can test out your ideas. It's in a I suppose a safer environment, because you're not relying on having to sell that product in order to be able to pay the bills at the end of the day. So you can try out an idea and see what people like it. If people don't like it, get feedback. The quickest way to learn is by failing, or by getting feedback from somebody saying, "Will you buy this?" "No, I won't buy that." Why don't you want to buy that? I can get it half the price from somewhere else. It's poor quality. It's not. I would have bought that 2 years ago, but now, actually, I want that now because everybody's here now, and you're offering me that. That's outdated. So use it as market research. Use it as a mechanism to learn. So, I think the opportunity for working for yourself means that you can take that big opportunity. You can go, wow, yeah, I'll do that. Whereas if I've been, I suppose, in a permanent job, then the chances are you're not going to you can apply for a new job, you can apply for promotion, but it's probably an incremental development of your career. This was an opportunity to go from arts to innovation to public service redesign within 2 steps. So yeah, to me it's something I suppose that's in my blood. I was 21 when I started my first company, and I'm still doing new things, doing new projects, trying to start new companies, new organisations up now. I haven't got bored of it. It still excites me. It's great to be excited about a new idea. It's great to then see that idea actually happen and be created around you. And it's fantastic to see the impact that idea or that new initiative or that new company or that new service or product or organisation then has on other people. It's brilliant here to see in the Startup Studio all these young entrepreneurs with their great ideas, starting to flourish and get customers and bounce off each other and do things. And some days here I just smile by just watching the interactions that are happening, or them coming in going, yeah, I got a new sale, or I got a new. So yeah, to me, it's constantly refreshing to be in an entrepreneurial environment. Yeah, there's a constant pressure to achieve, to come up with new ideas, to be constantly innovating, to be the best. Our aspiration here is to be not just the best incubator in Wales, but to be the best incubator in the UK. That's my first milestone. So there is a pressure. I think it helps if you come from a creative background, and I don't just mean an arts creative background, so you can come from a scientific or a technological background, but from where basically innovation and creativity is what you're used to doing. So that constant thing of, okay, what are we going to do now that's new? What are we going to do? So if you're used to that kind of a background, then I think the idea of is less pressure, because you're used to the concept of coming up with an idea and trying it out, and not so worried about if it fails. I think some people not very good at the key for the phrase that we teach is fail fast, basically, and fail fast and then fail forward. So get an idea, test it. So it's along the concepts which I suppose people are more familiar with now from tech startups. So that the concepts of lean, the concepts of agile development. So that principle of come up with a really good idea, test it really quickly, see if it works. If it doesn't, change it in something else. Try that. If it doesn't work, change it again. Rather than the concept of putting all your eggs in one basket and spending huge amounts of time on something. So I think it does help. But yeah, of course, there's pressure. There's always pressure to achieve. But it's, I suppose, from my perspective, I tend to get bored once things are successful. So I start things up, I get them going, get them successful, and then if it gets into a situation of maintaining something, that's the point that I tend to leave, and I try and then look for the next challenge. So to me, that's the pressure. I think I like the pressure of coming up with a new idea and what to do next.